Coach Knight has never moved on from that incident. And I think if he watches it, I hope he would put this behind him and return to Bloomington one day. One of the best moments in the film is your interview with Coach Knight, where you asked him about, why we the fans, why do we want you to go back? And he just won't, because he can't. Frank DeFord, the late legendary journalist, told me, he goes, if he would go back, in many ways, Coach Knight views it as a betrayal of everything he stands for. He stands for loyalty and toughness and all that, and he just can't find it in his heart to go back, because Indiana did a lot for him. It was a great place for him. As much as he put them back on the map from the Branch McCracken years, Indiana was the perfect place for him. And I'd love to see him go back as well. I know you would.
It's not going to happen, Robert. Even when I said you could go back there, there's so many people, far more people who want you back there, want to see you, to say thank you. And instead of letting a couple of people, some of them aren't alive anymore, and he's letting them get in the way. And you could just tell that. I don't care who is telling him. I was privately told that some of his former players were trying to get him to come back, and he just refused to listen.
I've been told his sons have tried to get him to go back. The roof would come off that place if he did come back. I wonder, what were you thinking when he said, I wish they were all dead, I wish they'd all go? Because while we were editing the film, I was watching it here in Connecticut, your show, and my editor in Florida, and he called me like a minute later. He goes, did you hear that? And I went, oh, my God. And it became one of the final pieces of the film, because I had started cutting a part of the film about what if he did come back? What would that be like? And I had all these people, Frank DeFord, everybody talking about how great a moment that would be. And when we watched your show, we came to the same realization that you just did, that he'll never go back.
Yeah, I felt sad. I felt sad for him that he had no awareness, and that you're saying, you know what, I hope they're all dead. And I just thought, that's somebody who's dead inside who says something like that. And he does have grand gestures of, fundraising, philanthropy. If he's your friend for life. He really is. And, I've known that. I've felt that from him. He's been good to me for years, but there's part of me that knows the backstory with a lot of things that never came to light, and it's hard to really balance those things. But yeah, I thought that there was something dead inside of Coach Knight when he said that. I really did. I felt sad for him. And
there is a sadness to this entire film. Towards the back end, that line, I do say it in the film, and it's a situation where Neil Reed did move on. He hasn't moved on. There's a soundbite early in the film for people who haven't watched it. Dick Vitale says he has a heart of gold for people he loves, admires, and respects. And you would fall into that category, Dan. That's why you have those feelings for him. The only problem is if he doesn't love, admire, or respect you. If you do leave the program, Mr. Hyde comes out. There's no better example than after the 82 championship, Landon Turner. He did amazing things for Landon Turner, who was in an automobile accident, has spent the rest of his life in a wheelchair. He raised money to build a house for him. He did everything. There's a clip in the film from a 2020 interview where Coach Knight's tearing up about him. But back in 99, when Luke Becker leaves, that was the impetus for my boss to come in, call me into his office, and Luke Recker left, find out what's going on. Luke Recker was in a horrible automobile accident after that. His girlfriend in a wheelchair for the rest of her life. Her brother died, and Coach Knight never sent a card, never reached out. Recker's mom told me that other coaches in the Big Ten did, but Coach Knight never did. So he loved, honored, and respect you, Dick Vitale, Landon Turner, and he does have a heart of gold. But there's another side to the man. There's a darker side of Knight that if he doesn't have those feelings towards you, he can be angry, bitter, cruel, and mean. And that's really what led to his dismissal, and that's what the film's about. It's not – I was very adamant early on that I wasn't going to interview people who idolized him and hated him. And the people in the film that you hear from are Frank DeFord, Dave Kindred, Malcolm Rand, people had known him. Angelo Pizzo, who wrote Hoosiers, and Rudy. He's in the film. All people who saw the good side and the bad side of Night, because I didn't want to portray him in a I didn't want to just get haters, because there's a bunch out there and there's a bunch of people who thinks he can do no wrong. And we tried to get that middle group that can see the good side of him and the other side of him, like you can. Yeah, I mean, some people have said we kind of knew it, but for the first time in this film, we see it. And I think that's what the film's about.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.